Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of With All Due Respect. We are your hosts. I'm Ryan Shead. That's Marcus Flowers. Brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. How about you today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just trying to take all these news cycles, with a grain of salt as best I can, I guess.
Indeed. I noticed that we're dressed alike today, man.
We should. Yeah, I got my Star Wars shirt on.
I got the Nike one. So
there we go. So let's get into it, man, because we got a heck of an outline today. We got a lot of news happening, and unfortunately, it's all important. So,
it is indeed.
Get
right into it.
With prices being as high as they are, with the history of companies buying up everything, I think Unilever. Mm-hmm. When you really go research how many things that we use every day that one company owns. Because they bought them all out and accumulated them to bring them into their brand. And we're looking at another situation now where Netflix is trying to become a major monopoly in the streaming services. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, man. Part of me gets the whole Netflix trying to acquire Warner Brothers, who owns a whole bunch of other things that we share. Part of me gets that. But it just feels off to me, though, when you got big companies like Amazon who come in and they buy everything up, put the mom and pops out of business. Now, don't get me wrong. None of these, Warner Brothers and HBO and all those guys, none of those guys are, I would say, mom and pops. But,
yeah. I mean, at one point, Netflix was. One point, people were looking at Netflix and being like, this isn't going to work.
No, it was never going to work.
Blockbuster's never going anywhere.
I remember back when I guess Netflix had just gotten started and I was in Iraq. This was like 2003.
Yeah, it was. Yep, right around there.
You'd get the mailed DVDs
with a return envelope, send it back when you were done.
And you send them back, and I was like, a buddy of mine would do it like once a month or whatever, and I was like, this feels like that Columbia House thing where
it did at first.
It did. Yeah. It felt like Columbia House. Yep. Like I was like, Columbia House didn't work out, but
then then you saw, okay, this is a business model that might work. And I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Netflix has been able to take what they did because they really were one of the first, major streaming platforms. They transitioned from, trying to beat out Blockbuster and rental houses to, okay, they see that the DVDs are going out now, so now what's next? Streaming. And this is just clearly another step for Netflix. They see where the future is headed and how important these copyrights and rights are going to be to these shows. So it's not surprising, but a lot of people are raising the red flag because it again brings up a lot of conflicts of interest.
I got a fun fact though. I mean, speaking of the Blockbusters and things like that, my first job in high school, like right when I turned 16, I had a place. It was like Blockbuster. It was called Movie Gallery. I don't know if this is back in the, early 90s, but that was my first job. And I thought that would be around forever. I was like, this is a great
At the time. Yeah. You're like, oh, yeah. Yep.
So
I remember that. But what's really interesting here is, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and you can tell me if I'm off base here. But Paramount now, I believe it's Paramount. You guys can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. But Paramount's now jumped in to make their own offer against this Netflix deal. And maybe they honestly just want it. But me personally, I have a feeling that this is going to be the stepping stone or the door opening to a lawsuit to try to prevent Netflix from, accomplishing this deal.
I mean, I think perhaps there's, that's why we have antitrust laws, to keep guys like this from, taking over the world. Now you've got what was it? Disney.
I'd argue they're failing.
I don't know if Disney took over ESPN, but now I have to have an extra subscription on my Disney Plus to watch football on Saturday. I'm a big college football guy, so I like the NFL, but
I don't get to watch my Lions because I'm not paying $300 and something.
Exactly, for the NFL package. I don't care as much about professional football as I do with college football, but
yeah, I know a lot of people like that. But it's I can go watch the highlights.
College football, probably not so much for NFL football, but definitely for college football.
I just like my Lions, man. But so it'll be interesting to see where this pans out
every year. So.
But here's the other precedent that's being set that I know it's happened before, but I just want to remind folks. Donald Trump came out and said that, he sees this possibly being a problem, that he's going to be personally involved. When did it become acceptable for the president of the United States to be dibbling and dabbling in business deals?
Yeah, that's not the job of the executive branch. If anything, Congress gets involved. That's
thank you.
Their wheelhouse, so they should.
Even when Obama was trying to buy out all these people, not buy out, but help all these companies, they still went through Congress to do it, to get the funding. Exactly. And then the deal was they had to pay back the loans at some point, which they did.
Got the bank bailout, the too big to fail.
Yeah. So I don't understand. And now Donald Trump has said he's going to bail out all the farmers, that he's using all the billions of dollars he's raised from the tariffs. Like, dude, you are literally fixing a problem you yourself created, and you're using tariff money that comes directly from American consumers that is passed to us on a per unit basis by the small businesses and corporations that are paying for the increased import costs that are coming from China and anywhere else in the world. So once again, he is doing the con man game. I call it the 3-card Monty. Where's the queen? Where's the queen? And it's like, he has created this issue. Now, I'm not saying that farmers were perfect before he came in, or, that we didn't have issues to figure out or to help them, but was it as bad as it is now?
No, and he started the trade war.
He started it. So. Like, you've increased the prices, and now he's standing on a stage saying, well, we're decreasing prices now by relieving tariffs. And it's like, okay, so you admit that the tariffs you put on there is what increased the price of goods for us Americans.
Yeah, that's, in every way goes back to where he's saying affordability is a hoax started by the Democrats.
Oh, dude.
Well, if it's a hoax, then why are you saying, we're going to use this money that came in from the tariff to bail these farmers out? Again, we were all saying tariff is just a tax, another tax on us.
Yep.
Full stop. The consumer.
Which is a fact.
Taxpayer. And now you want to use the money that you made in tariffs, which
that you stole from us.
Yeah. Money that you're stealing from
Americans.
So.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But speaking of hoaxes, Donald Trump was awarded the FIFA Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Which, they literally created this participation trophy for the President of the United States.
It's exactly what it is. It's a participation trophy because he got his feelers hurt because he wasn't
lost the Nobel Peace Prize to a woman. From Venezuela, might I add. For those of you who might not know, Donald Trump is in his fifis because he got beat out by a woman. From Venezuela, who, happens to be pushing back against dictatorship and bringing in democracy, which is what she won the prize for.
Yeah, exactly. That had to hurt his little feelers so bad. He's been on this Nobel Peace Prize for a long time. He's so mad that
since Obama got it.
He feels like he has to get one. So enter FIFA.
I'm telling you, man, like somebody this petty and insecure has no business being the most powerful person in our country.
None whatsoever. I mean, did you see the video of him accepting that prize, lifting it up with his, it was just ridiculous.
You know what? I'm not sure if I saw it. I think we have a video though.
We have a video of that. Let's
look at it.
Welcome the very first winner of the FIFA Peace Prize, the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Please.
Is this where he puts the medal on himself?
Yeah.
That was the best part too. Like he put the medal on himself.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is your prize. This is
participation trophy.
Prize. There is also a beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go.
Look at this guy.
Right now. Okay, let me hold. Fantastic. Excellent.
You know what that reminds me of? The kid, the TV shows or the cartoons where the kid goes up and like steals the prize, like it's mine, give it to me.
Exactly. Look what I got. Ooh, look what I got.
Oh my God. Again, imagine if, I say Obama all the time, but really anybody. Imagine if George Bush acted that bad. Like we used to like roast that dude for not being able to put together a coherent sentence half the time. Yeah. Like I would pay to have George Bush back.
I really
without the wars.
Donald Trump. I mean,
yeah.
People called Bush stupid. I mean, fairly or unfairly, he was a genius compared to this guy, Trump. Man.
No lies told. And I said something for a completely different reason a long time ago. I said, it was after Obama got elected. I said, you know what? As time goes on, I think history is going to remember George Bush a little more favorably. I remember saying that. Now, it's true. I don't know if it's for the reasons that I thought so at the time, but he's definitely not the worst president we've ever had now.
With a lot of presidents, that's true. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
You had to be a certain kind of bad.
Yep. It's like a relationship, that was horrible at the time, but 10 years later, you're like, it wasn't that bad. I remember a lot of good times.
I mean, people used to, they used to say, oh, Carter was a horrible president. But, you look back on Carter's life and his legacy.
He was stable.
Probably one of the greatest presidents ever. He just got a bad hand with, what he was dealt with. And,
But again, I think presidents who are stable and just keep the boat pointed in the right direction, I think they're very underappreciated. It's not supposed to always be, just insane thing after insane thing. After Obama got, the economy somewhat under control from like 2008, 2010, from 11 and 12 on, it didn't feel like, we were all failing and struggling. Exactly. Like it started to feel like, okay, we're at least, things are at least picking back up. Companies aren't, literally looking to shut their doors tomorrow if they aren't helped. And here we are now, again, Republican president, and people are looking at closing their doors. We've had several businesses here in Tucson in the last 2-3 months that I've seen online saying, after 6 decades of family owned, we have to close our doors. Like,
it's a shame. It's a shame.
We're losing all the things that make our communities great in favor of corporate greed and power.
Yeah, that's always been a thing of mine. I mean, you look back at Obama, he handed Trump a super hot economy. And historically, Democrats have always done better with the economy than Republicans. I mean,
that's a fact.
Trump got handed a super hot economy, and then
which he destroyed.
He destroyed it. And then people will say, oh, but it was COVID. He made a hell of a lot of missteps during COVID that added to what was already going to happen. And then you had Biden come in and fix things up,
clean up the mess,
pointed back in the right direction. And here we go again with Trump, making all these BS promises, only he can fix it once again. And here we are.
Yeah.
But then when there's a problem, he says, there's not a problem. It's in your head, or the Democrats made it up. It's a hoax.
Like when he says, "Hey, Donald Trump, if you had to give your economy a grade, what would it be?" And the man says, "Oh, an A plus 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 plus."
Yeah. Get out of
Somebody take this man to the mental ward because he's lost his mind.
Well, I go back to that. I think we talked about this last week. You can't tell people how they're feeling especially when it comes to their pocketbook.
Yeah, for sure.
When they know they're paying more in the grocery stores, you feel that. You feel that every week. You know when the prices are going up.
And that's the weird thing. It's like, don't believe your eyes. Don't believe what you hear. Don't believe what you're experiencing. Just believe what we're telling you.
And in all fairness, Democrats kind of made that mistake too. Not to the extent that Trump did, but they were like, they weren't taking it as seriously as they should have been.
As they should.
We're gonna continue working to get these prices down and blah blah blah. But it was
all talk and no delivery.
It was just lip service.
Yeah,
and
that's fair. I mean, that's fair.
It's fair.
But again, that's why, we've talked on the show about me being an independent, but I'm pretty freaking liberal, and I fight for the Democratic Party every day. It's just, I have my issues with it, just like so many other people, but again, I understand our current landscape, and the current landscape, I just want to remind everybody, is why I may be an independent. I'm sure as hell not voting for a freaking Republican, because they're all allowing what's happening, or they're all staying quiet. And both of those things are wrong to me. And so I understand it's a two-party system until we get something like ranked choice voting, or Americans get smart enough to have 5 or 6 viable political parties like other countries do, like Denmark, which we'll bring up in a little bit. And so we can fix this. We can change this to make sure this doesn't happen again. And I look forward to being on the front lines of that. But until then, I will be voting Democrat 95% of the time. I will tell you I voted for one Republican. The only reason was because they were doing a very good job and I didn't see a reason to remove them. They lost, but that was I'm not going to vote somebody out if they're doing a good job and they've proven themselves not to be a piece of garbage.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a Democrat, and I've voted for Republicans before.
Yeah,
a lot of them at the
they're doing a good job. I mean,
before I joined the party, I voted for a Republican for president at one point in time.
I think, you know what, dude? I wish
that was a long time ago, and we're not in those days anymore. So.
Yeah, I don't remember if I voted for Obama the first time. Like, I feel like I voted for McCain because I feel like if I remember right, I was justifying it as Obama didn't have any military experience, and I had just gotten out of the military, and, it was like, we need somebody who can control what's going on. And a junior senator from Illinois wasn't going to do that in my head at the time. Yeah. And I was wrong. And so if I did vote for McCain, I was definitely wrong. But I know I voted for Obama the second time. And, but again, over time, if you look at how the military has voted, somebody pointed out to me, when you and I were in, it was you vote for a Republican because they give you raises, they give the military money. But the graphs actually show that in the last 20 years that active duty service members are now starting to vote more Democrat, which I found very interesting because I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, well, that is very interesting because, the brass, they tend to be very Republican. But I don't know if I've told you this story. I met John McCain. It was probably late 2006, mid to late 2006 in Baghdad at the old embassy. And, I'm just walking around, doing my job. And here comes John McCain by himself, unescorted down that long hall, at the embassy. And I'm looking at him. I'm looking, as he's coming closer to me, I was like, is that John McCain? Sure enough, as he got closer.
Is that the man?
That's definitely John McCain. So stopped. We had a little conversation. And, there was chatter going on about him running
at that. Yeah.
I was like, hey, if you do run, I said, I'm not a member of any party, but, thank you for your service. And you're someone that I would definitely vote for.
Yeah.
Now, Obama came on the scene, and I didn't end up voting for him. You know, I broke that promise.
You liar! You liar!
Lied to a city. But I didn't mean to.
Hey, man, you know,
Obama came out of nowhere, and I was like, hey, man, I like
he
this
did,
guy.
man. He did. And you know what? I'm glad America got it right.
Yeah.
I'm glad, you know, I hate being wrong, but sometimes I'm completely okay with it. And that was one of the times where, you know, I was voting with, I think, my emotion and life experience over educating myself on him, his positions, and what we needed at that particular time in the country.
But that was again a different time. You could look at a guy like John McCain and say, "Yeah, I don't care that he's a Republican. He's an honorable man. He served this country."
Yeah, thank you. I don't hate voting for him because it's like he's still an honorable guy. Like that was still somebody that,
POW,
as president, he probably would have been okay.
You know, sat there until all of his men got out. Could have gotten out earlier, decided not to.
Yep.
You know, and he left some of his humanity over there in those prisons.
Hard not to.
Vietnam. So I mean that guy, you know.
And to have somebody of Trump's,
he proved it time and time again.
Yeah.
When he did his little thumbs down thing.
And he stood up for Obama when they started, you know, attacking him.
When attacking him.
So, you know, that was
said he was a Muslim. He's like, no, he's not.
Yeah, terrorist Muslim. He was there. Yep. And he literally pulled the mic from her, which was what I liked. It was like, oh no, give me the mic.
That's the last time you've seen something like that. You know,
a
Republican member of the Senate or the House correcting a constituent saying, no, you're wrong here.
Respect and morality is no longer a part of our politics. And it's very disappointing. You know, just leave all the other crap out of it. We really have forgotten that at the end of the day, when Congress goes in to vote, when we vote for the president, that we are all Americans at the end of the frickin' day. And I don't know where we lost that. You know, I saw it September 11th when we all came together and everybody looked at each other as the same. I think maybe I was naive at the time to think that was going to be a turning point. And I, clearly was naive to think that January 6th was going to be the end of the MAGA movement and Donald Trump. I've severely underestimated my fellow Americans and their willingness to vote for somebody as disgusting and with the criminal and fraudulent history that Donald Trump has. Knowing those things, it's unfathomable. And here we are today in Tucson. I've got, Mayor Romero sending out social media posts that ICE is serving, long-term investigation warrants here in Tucson and picking people up. Our mayor. So I just don't understand.
Again, it's a different world than the world we were fighting for back in the early 2000s. We were spending most of our time in combat zones and fighting for what we thought was right. So it's important in the Constitution, so that people could have the right to say and do whatever the hell they wanted to here. It's
crazy.
It's a shame. And I know where a lot of that started. Hell, a lot of it started here in Georgia with a guy named Newt Gingrich. It's where a lot of it started. It's 100%. Way past that now. It's way past that.
94, 96. Yeah, it was Newt Gingrich and a lot of their powerful Republicans that were they were pissed off that Bill Clinton kept winning and Democrats kept winning, and he had balanced the budget, and they knew that if they didn't do something that they weren't going to win many elections moving forward.
Yeah, because the old saying that says we agree on a lot more than we disagree on, that just wasn't working for them anymore.
Nope.
Because they did agree,
even though it's still true.
Disagreed on stuff. There were a whole lot of bipartisan things coming out of Congress, and they were like, you know what, we got to start pushing back and inserting a little WWE,
however way we can,
whatever we can. We can't agree with those guys. We got to be staunchly against anything good for the people. Be damned. That's what they felt they had to do, and it worked. It worked.
Still working.
They were able to, them and us, America, enough, and insert that fear into certain people who were,
You mean like 77
A lot of
million?
people who would fall for that stuff. And, it's,
Well, speaking of people that fall for things.
Talk about as Americans, as a collective, bringing us together. That wasn't the route. We got to separate people and divide and conquer as much as possible.
So
they did.
For those wondering, I just want to cap off the FIFA thing, the participation trophy. If you were wondering, like I was, of what the quid pro quo was going to be in this situation, we have figured it out. Donald Trump now says that soccer should be called football in America, and that we have to come up with another name for the NFL stuff.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's going to go well.
Over like a Led Zeppelin.
I'm just going to throw one thing out there as the reason that this will not fucking happen. The NFL, if they had to rebrand everything, it would cost them hundreds of millions. Like it literally could at some point cross $1 billion.
It could cost billions of dollars because people will stop buying their stuff.
That too. Like you'd have to no. Like I understand their like FIFA's desire and probably even the MLS owners here in the States to try to unify it with the World Soccer, the World Football League or whatever, but it's going to forever be soccer here in America.
It's
just because of business. Like I'm not even saying right, wrong, it's just business.
I mean, I lived overseas for 20 years, so even I called football, but I knew the difference.
Yeah, you know the difference. Exactly.
Football,
yeah.
You just
when you're in Japan,
they call it
football
American
is soccer.
Football,
Yeah,
So they're like,
I mean, it literally is football pretty much everywhere else, I think.
And they know it's soccer here. They get that. They don't care.
Now I want to go find out who came up with soccer. Probably a white conservative Christian. Just saying. But the white conservative Christians don't seem to be very happy today after some election news came out. We had the Georgia Democrat Eric, is it Geisler? Geisler, thank you. He flipped a state house seat in a district Trump won by double digits. So you're in Georgia. What'd you think about that one?
Oh, that was great. I like Eric. I mean, he's a good guy. Met him out on the campaign trail back before. So I think,
when you were running,
it's probably when I was running or after I ran.
Okay.
I helped a lot of people out. But yeah, I mean, I won't say I'm shocked.
Pleasantly
Could have used some of
surprised?
that, a little bit more of that in 22, but every little bit helps. And, when we're trying to get some work done here in the state of Georgia, because they've held on to, serious majorities in both the state legislature and state Senate. So
yeah, we have the same issue here in AZ.
Love to see that. Hoping we can get some more of that when a couple of special elections get announced, because I'm sure there's going to be a state senator or two running for Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat on the Republican side, which it's a tough nut to crack in that district, but hey,
might be doable this go around.
I mean, that momentum, that we saw back on November 4th and what we saw in Afton Benz, how close she came to taking that congressional seat in Tennessee 7. That shows that momentum's real. That shows the cracks are beginning to show in MAGA. And it shows people are starting to realize they've been taken for a ride with this.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I think I wanted to kind of think about why these elections. It's not just Trump, being his racist clown self on stage. It's other things, and actions have consequences. When you send ICE into states and cities, much like here in Tucson, when the mayor doesn't want them here, people are going to take notice.
Yeah.
When women and children start getting picked up off the street by masked men with no identification, people are going to start taking notice. But most importantly, when in Boston, people showed up for their citizenship swearing in,
to become naturalized citizens.
They had done all the process to become a citizen.
Goes, right?
Yep, years.
They checked all the boxes.
They had done everything they were supposed to do. So for all the people out there who said, we love immigrants as long as they come in and do it the right way. All those people that got pulled out of that line had done it the right way and were literally waiting to go in front of a judge, raise their right hand, and swear an oath to our country and their allegiance to our country. And instead of allowing those people who have spent years and countless dollars to get to that point, they pulled them out because Trump's a piece of garbage.
Let's not forget, there is a financial burden there.
Huge financial burden. It costs thousands of dollars, which is one of the reasons some people are never able to do it.
And you pull them out of line when they're ready to raise their right hand, swear allegiance to the United States.
To our country.
Yeah. All of the things. And this, I think, on average, that's about, what, a 12-year process?
Yeah, I don't know what the average is, but I know people it took 5. I know people it took a solid 5.
I think on the average, it's more than a decade that it takes people to go.
I mean, look, it shouldn't take that long. You wonder why there's so many, crossings. It's like, because you look at these people who are, some of them literally running for their lives, and you're saying, whoa, hang on, just wait over there for 2 or 3 years, do the process, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, no. Most of you, if the roles were reversed, would have ran your ass down to the river, found a place that you could have swam across, and done the exact same thing.
Yeah. Let's not forget, we talk a whole lot about the southern border. It's true. A lot of people who come in, quote unquote, the right way, seek asylum, they go through that process and they go wherever they're going to go with a family member somewhere in the States, and they await their hearings. It could be years. It could be years before they,
even hear something.
Get the hearings. They're just undocumented. They're here legally.
Yeah.
They
working, paying taxes.
Working, paying taxes. That's the one thing you get. They still fall under the jurisdiction of the United States.
Yep.
Now we'll talk about that a little bit.
They aren't able to vote in federal elections. There's only 17 the number may have changed in the last 8 months, but the last time I looked, there were only 17 municipalities in the entire country where undocumented immigrants or illegals, whatever they want to call them, are able to vote in elections, and they're basically, so they're citywide elections.
But
and
we have to sort that out. I mean, we have to suss that. Just because you're undocumented doesn't mean you're illegal.
Fair, right? But
doesn't mean you came here illegally.
I believe
fly in with a visa. You can fly in with a visa from another country. Overstay your visa.
You mean like Elon Musk?
You mean like Elon Musk? Yeah. Then you're illegal.
I got the video of his brother saying it.
You can apply for, a different visa
or the first lady.
Apply for citizenship. Then you're just undocumented. So I think people get that confused a lot. Just because you're undocumented doesn't mean you're here illegally.
So when we talk about consequences, let's talk about Miami, because
talk about it.
Eileen Higgins defeated Trump-backed Emilio Gonzalez in the mayor runoff, becoming the city's first female and first Democratic mayor in nearly 3 decades.
30 years.
I'm sorry. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back, particularly the Trump voters. 3 decades! You guys just flipped that city. And the reason is because what you're doing is wrong.
That's huge.
And people say, it's like...
That's huge. Miami.
Yeah. Tennessee was a nice precursor, because like you said, there was positive data to come out of that, even though we didn't get what we wanted in the end game. But this is what we were hoping for in Tennessee. We were hoping for this kind of turnout, and for basically them to all look at Donald Trump and just give him the bird and say, we're done. And we're going to make sure that you don't have control over this city or anything that has to do with us until you're gone. So, well done, Miami. My hat's off to you. Thank you, because you are setting a precedent for people to come out and vote for what is best for them, not for what they're hearing on TV, not for what their friends are trying to tell them, not for the YouTube videos they're watching, but because they see their pocketbook, because they see the prices of the food on the shelves, they see that gas isn't $1.99, they see that oil is going up. Like, that's why Republicans are losing votes, and that's why Republicans are abandoning this sinking ship.
I want to make sure people understand why it's so important in Miami. Like back when Trump got elected, I mean, they used to run all kinds of Spanish speaking ads, to scare the Cuban people Cuban Americans who live down there, who left communism, who fled all of that. That you should make them think that, oh yeah, if you vote for a Democrat, they want to bring communism here. All of that fear mongering that went on down there.
Yep.
And now for there to be not only a female, but a Democrat mayor in Miami, that's a lot. That's saying a lot. That shows some serious momentum,
yep,
if you ask me. So,
and
I'm happy about where we are going into the midterms, going into the on year. And a friend of mine says there is no such thing as an off year, but we're going into 26 where the elections are actually going to happen.
Oh, we got to get to work in January. Enjoy Christmas, enjoy the new year, take a week or two in January, but at some point in January, it's time for us all to get back to work.
Stay on message and keep pushing, keep talking to people, keep having those conversations, keep trying to bring people together.
Yeah,
I think we can
but,
definitely make this. I mean, Trump's already a lame duck, but we can.
Yeah, for all. But also, seriously, y'all, this news cycle isn't going to stop. There's going to be plenty of stories January 5th. We need to take a little time to ourselves. Where everybody's out here fighting hard. Everybody I know online is fighting hard to, push the right messaging, putting together documents so that we can all help each other. Like I see all the effort that is going on, and we all need to just unplug for a little bit. Enjoy whatever it is you enjoy. If it's your family, great. If it's your dogs, if it's video game, I don't care what it is. Unplug, do something you enjoy, minimize the news and BS, because that's what Trump wants. He's going to flood, and Republicans too, they're going to flood the news with stupid crap all the way up to Christmas, so just.
Man, that's been a part of the playbook for a while, flooding the zone. 100%. And it's made a lot of people just tune out. And,
yep. Well, that's the goal. That's
when I'm out, I'm saying, when they'll tell me things like, oh, I don't do politics because it's all.
Yeah, it's a red flag to me.
Telling me you don't do politics.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're excused, because guess what? Politics is going to do you.
Yep. Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
Kind of like the Supreme Court. Again, one of the reasons I think, Republicans are going to be losing these elections are because they see the Supreme Court that Trump has appointed so many people on, and they're literally going to reconsider birthright citizenship.
Can't believe they're even thinking about it.
Let me say that one more time for y'all. The Supreme Court is going to hear a case on overturning birthright citizenship.
Yeah. So, and this is all because of Trump, by the way.
They've already overturned Roe v. Wade.
You talk about an activist court.
Yep.
This is all
that they've accused Democrats of being for decades.
With his executive order about removing, the recognition of citizenship for a U.S. child born of immigrant parents. Okay, so when you look at the 14th Amendment, that first sentence says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. So this court, I think they're gonna have some issues with, the part where fall under the jurisdiction of the United States.
Yeah.
If you're here in this country, you fall under the jurisdiction.
If you're born here
of the United States.
Yeah.
Even if your parents are here or are legal immigrants.
Yep.
They still fall under the jurisdiction of the United States.
Yep.
That's what they're gonna have to grapple with.
I got one even better for you. If you're stationed in another country and your child's born on the base, you're American citizen.
Jurisdiction of yeah, exactly. Even if you're born,
just for those who didn't know,
even if you're born off base,
do they still do it if they're born off base?
I think there used to be. I want to say maybe back in the 70s.
I think that if they have to go to another hospital for a medical reason, I thought there was a clause for that. I have to look at that up. I'm not sure. Now I'm interested.
Yeah, I know back in the 70s, I had a guy I played football with in high school, and he was born in Japan.
Yeah.
Still a U.S. citizen, but I want to say he had not a Japanese passport, but a Japanese birth certificate.
Yeah, see, my
in Japan,
my sister-in-law didn't have a Japanese, or she was in Germany. They were in Germany when she was born, and all she had was the American birth certificate and everything.
That's because there's the status of forces agreement.
Yeah.
And in Germany, which I spent a lot of time in Germany, on the basis that I lived, there wasn't a place but out on the economy in Germany. You weren't, no kids were being born on base. It's all we had was clinic.
Look, man, it really doesn't matter though, because they're trying to kick out people that serve the military to get their citizenship, and they're trying to finagle them out. So it's just insane. And SCOTUS is poised to give Trump even more power, saying that he is able to fire the Federal Trade Commission head of, like, really?
They're trying their best to make this guy king,
bro. Like they're that close.
They're trying their best.
And the thing is, the Fed keeps lowering the rate. Like, what are you upset about? Oh, I'm sorry, because they're telling Americans the truth and saying that the reason they're having to lower the rate and the reason that we're all struggling is because directly Trump's policies.
Yeah, if you take the Fed out of it, other independent agencies in the government, that were made by Congress, where Congress has congressional oversight, they're trying to say that the president can come in and fire those people.
Yeah.
No.
It's crazy.
You can't.
Just
the Fed being the biggest one, but there are other agencies.
The federal government is not an at-will employer.
No.
But I want to cap off the Supreme Court by talking about Jasmine Crockett. And I just want to say that I want to take the mic for a second because this is my personal feeling. I'm a little up in my feelings today. I'm not going to lie.
Go for it.
The Supreme Court has ruled that Texas can use a Republican-biased congressional map in the midterms, which essentially eliminates Jasmine Crockett's seat in Texas. So she was basically pushed into having to find another seat at the table. And she's decided that the Senate is where she's going to do it. I am happy as hell about it because, in my opinion, Jasmine Crockett is one of our biggest stars right now. And I don't see that changing because she's exactly what we need. She knows when to turn it on and off. And unlike a lot of Republicans, she actually has an education. She actually, has experience. She knows a courtroom.
Been in the state legislature. She's been in the courtroom.
She checks all the boxes, y'all. The only box she doesn't check for Republicans is that she's not white. And that's what a lot of people hate. Now, I'm going to tell you what I didn't anticipate seeing when she came out and said she was running. And that is a lot of my fellow left-wing political creators out there and accounts and even some elected officials coming out and saying she doesn't stand a chance, that it's stupid, whatever you're saying. Here's why I have a big issue with that. Because once again, let me go back a second. In 2024, 80+% of the black community in the United States voted for Kamala Harris. Okay? So this isn't really...
It's more than that.
I'm just keeping it because I think women, it was like 87, and I believe African-American men, it was like 81. Don't quote me, but they were both in the 80s. And so this is really our problem. And we're just seeing once again that white people, Latino people, basically anybody that isn't part of the black community doesn't seem to show up when we have qualified people like Jasmine Crockett who are playing the game exactly the way that we need a politician to play it right now. And instead of the left coming together and being like, well, you know, they took her seat away. We got to find her another place. Let's do it. You know, 1, 2, 3 break. Like, that was kind of what I expected. And that is not what I've seen. Once again, the reason I left the party is because we can't come together. We can't fight the same fight at the same time. And the reasoning behind all of this is honestly mind-boggling to me. And I'm probably going to step in a huge freaking hornet's nest here. And just remind you, I'm speaking for me, not this guy next to me. I am not personally talking about or dismissing what's happening in Gaza or Ukraine. I'm not saying that all people from Israel are evil. You know, none of that. I'm really, honestly, I've always said this for the last 2 years. I'm on the side of the innocent people caught in all this bullshit. That said, this is where I'm going to piss you off. I don't give a fuck. And here's why. Because if that's your response to an elected official running a campaign here in the United States, then I don't want to hear it. Right. Because right now, when we've got all these other countries that Trump claims to be doing these peace deals in that are literally falling apart, you know, we are facing our own issue here, and it's Donald freaking Trump. And once again, we can't depend on voters to do the right thing and keep a felon and a fraud and a fucking rapist out of the White House. And now when you have people that want to show up and actually fight, like Jasmine Crockett, she doesn't just have to fight the right and Donald Trump and MAGA, who send her death threats every hour of every day. Now she's got to fight half of the fucking Democrats, because I got news for you, as somebody who's been married to a black woman for 14 years and gets to see all the evil bullshit, probably 25% of liberals and Democrats are racist pieces of shit too. So I hate to break that news to you. So your friend that you think is a Democrat that probably voted for Kamala Harris, I hate to break it to you, they might not have, simply because she's black. And the same thing has happened to Jasmine Crockett, and it pisses me off, and I'm going to stand here on my white privilege soapbox and continue to say it. So if the Democratic Party once again fumbles somebody like Jasmine Crockett, I will be online calling you completely useless and inept and incapable of doing what needs to be done to win this. Because during wartime, as Marcus will co-sign this part, we all end up having to do things that maybe are morally questionable that we wouldn't normally do any other time. And I'm not saying that Democrats and liberals should do morally questionable shit, but I do say that we should be getting down in the mud and pushing back a hell of a lot harder than we are. So when I see somebody like 5'0" Jasmine Crockett out there doing what everybody else should do, while a bunch of white men are standing back playing fucking I don't see, I don't hear, I don't want to say anything, I'm tired of it. So either get behind her or shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take that on a little bit too. You know, one of my things is you never take that defeatist mentality.
No,
you never do that. You never do that. And I've heard,
it's like,
oh, we've been trying to get Texas for decades. You know, we're so close to winning Texas, yet we never do. Well, guys, you just got to keep going for it. Democracy demands.
Yeah, keep swinging.
Demands competition. That's why you keep getting guys like Ted fucking Cruz. You know, who
tell him.
And if you just say, "Oh, we can't win Texas, we're going to give up." You know, Beto fought like hell. He almost did it,
and it was popular, very popular. What did you say to me?
Doesn't mean that Jasmine can't do it.
What did you say to me before the show? What did you brought up Beto? He's okay.
Yeah.
You said,
remind me what I said. You know, I love Beto. So.
You said Beto was huge. Let me say, I let in. I said Jasmine Crockett is our biggest star. It would be
Beto's
stupid.
Huge.
Yeah, and you said Beto was
Jasmine's
huge,
bigger.
but Jasmine's bigger.
She's a bigger star.
Right. And you're right. And again, that's not hating on Beto. Like,
it's not taking anything away from Beto.
No.
Beto's a big star in his own right. Jasmine,
we're using that measuring stick to
like
tell you
they're both. You know.
Yeah, they're both great.
Yeah.
You know, like. Yeah, if Beto wouldn't have stood on that competition, if Beto wouldn't have stood on that stage and said, "I'm coming for your AR-15s" during the debate or whatever it was, I think he probably would have had a hell of a lot better chance. But you know, it is what
regardless, Beto did a hell of a lot of work there. I think Jasmine's.
Oh, he worked his ass off
on, you know, the accomplishments that he made there, and I think,
I loved how he would drive around and like broadcast even something stupid. They'd be singing songs and shit, but people loved tuning into that because they related. It's like, yeah, he's driving to his next thing, but he's having fun, or he'd be talking about the policies that he wants to do while he's driving. That was a great campaign, and it was good to see that other campaigns took that blueprint and started doing similar things, because it matters. Social media, it doesn't win elections by itself, but it's a hell of a lot bigger player than some of these old wigs want to lead you to believe.
When you're running a statewide campaign, especially in a state like Texas, I've lived in Texas, it's huge. So you got to do a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of different areas that you got to visit, and you got to talk to a lot of different people.
Well, speaking of a lot of different areas, we got a lot on this sheet to do, and we got like 10 minutes left. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
I know everybody wants to hear us talk a little bit about Trump's little thing last night, so we'll end it on that. I want to talk just real quick about, like I said, the war in Ukraine. Trump said that NATO calls him daddy. And again, I just think that that's embarrassing on the world stage, and shows you how unserious these people really are.
Yeah.
And when the Kremlin comes out and praises the new national security strategy adopted by Donald Trump, saying it aligns closely with Russia's own view of global affairs, I think we might have messed up. When Vladimir Putin is praising our president for giving him basically what he wants and siding with him,
yeah,
I think we might be in some trouble.
Well, NATO and the rest of Europe are, vehemently against this deal.
I mean, let's call it what it is. They've told them, if you keep going, we're going to come in and stick our boot up your ass.
So,
and that's the last thing Putin wants, because if NATO comes in, he's done. And he knows it.
Yeah.
And by the way, if Donald Trump wants to stop the war in Ukraine today, he could call up his butt buddy, Vladimir Putin, and say, hey, Vlad, how about you just pack up all your people and tell them to go home?
Yeah.
You're not getting any land. You're not getting what you wanted.
Yeah.
Go home.
That's the easiest way to end it.
Yep.
Get the hell out of their country. That's
pretty simple.
Full stop. That's the easiest way to end it. And that's how Ukrainians feel. You guys want peace to hell off our land.
That's how I would feel. What if people came in, if Mexico started invading us tomorrow and said, just give us Texas and Arizona and we'll leave? Would Americans allow it?
The answer would be no, thank you. You keep trying us and we'll keep killing you. That's
exactly.
So.
We would all be armed up at the, whatever border it was, and saying, you're not taking anything.
That's how it would go.
That's
exactly how the Ukrainians are responding.
Yep.
It's
which I don't. Which is why I don't understand.
It's not just defending their land; they're firing
their sovereignty. They're everything.
They're attacking targets there. So,
everything. And
they're well within their right to do so.
You want to know what Jen, my wife brought up a story that Chernobyl is leaking, and it's leaking again because of the bombing around the area had cracked the second. Enclosure that keeps the radiation out. Now, for those of you who aren't a geek like me, it's projected to take about 100 years for the nuclear meltdown to burn itself out there in Ukraine/Russia. And the area above it, the metal structure has cracked. And if you're Russia, why the hell? Because Russia's the one that did it. It was Russia bombing that did it. So why would you bomb around a nuclear freaking fallout area, and then when it starts leaking, say, we're not going to fix it?
Yeah.
Now, if you were going to hold an area of, and say, yeah, we'll fix it, all you got to do is give us
the area.
And because what they're not going to do is, even if whoever, NATO or Germany or whoever comes in and puts together a team that they're going to go in there and fix it, what's going to happen is Russia's going to send troops there, and they're going to kill anybody that comes and tries to fix it, because Putin's going to use it as a bargaining chip. You heard it here first. So, speaking of crazy shit, military action in the Caribbean. Pete Hegseth he is officially facing the impeachment, right?
I don't know about officially right now.
They've introduced the articles, though.
I'm not sure that they have yet, unless they did that yesterday.
Somebody in the comments, I'm not sure if they introduced them yet or not, or if they're just drawn up. But yeah, lawmakers are already trying to figure out ways to ground this guy. Like they're using provisions to reduce his travel budget and all sorts of other things. So my question to you is this: do you think it's going to come to a point where either Hegseth is going to have to resign or Trump's going to have to fire him?
I think Trump will fire him first, because that's how that loyalty thing works with Trump. When you start getting too much attention, you're gone.
Or become too much of a problem.
Or become too much of a headache, which, come on.
And Kristi Noem is also, there's rumors floating that she might be on her way out.
No, that's
so, I mean,
so
I think it just speaks
but he only hires the best
people. Yeah.
Best people.
Real quick, because I know we talk about this every day, but just a quick update. The Epstein files. A federal judge has ordered the release of grand jury documents from the Ghislaine Maxwell case. So on top of that, a second judge has ruled that the secret grand jury transcripts from Jeffrey Epstein's 2019 sex trafficking case can now be made public. So I think it's fair to say that these decisions are one of the reasons that Trump and family are trying to push the most ridiculous distractions ever. Look, I just want all the information to come out so that everybody can just finally know what's what and make our own conclusions based off of that. But the one thing I know for sure is that people who are guilty act exactly the same way that Donald Trump does. Yep. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
He's been fighting pretty hard to keep this stuff in the dark, even though, he'll say publicly, oh, yeah, release the files. He doesn't really mean it.
So. Yeah. But yet, even though courts are telling him to, he's refusing.
Still not doing it.
Can't imagine why that would be.
All of these files that were sitting on Pam Bondi's desks that were ready to go. However,
and that all the right-wing social media influencers had the binder, Epstein files, phase 1. I was like, what was phase 1? Empty binder, waiting for the paperwork.
Exactly. So,
oh my God. So let's end on this because we probably should have started the show on it, but oh well. Donald Trump has gone on a 2 or 3 day epic run of embarrassment after embarrassment. And for me, watching Sylvester Stallone and Gene Simmons and the rest of those clowns stand in the White House and get their little medals, and watching Donald Trump mispronounce Stallone's name was because that pissed him off. Stallone got in his car like, that motherfucker couldn't even pronounce my name. It's like, yeah, you were just a prop. You were just a little toy for him. Congratulations. Yeah. Gene Simmons' mother was a freaking Holocaust survivor. Donald Trump doesn't even think the Holocaust happened. And he's sitting there. I can't with these people. This is why I'll never be rich. I can't sell my soul and let go of my morals so that somebody could just, pat me on my head and use me as a prop. Yeah. Like, no. And by the way,
like our buddy
so
Scott
much makeup, so much fake hair.
Giving away their integrity.
Yeah. And again, gender affirming care. Sylvester Stallone, that ain't your hair. Gene Simmons, that ain't your hair. Like, that's a lot of makeup and eyeliner up there. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Gene Simmons and Kiss, you guys are actual drag queens. You've made your whole fucking career off of dressing up and putting makeup on. You're 80 years old. Like, I can't.
The hypocrisy, brother. I tell you.
And then the next thing is the Kennedy Center. So he's saying that members of the audience literally told them that they were miserable, horrible people during his speech.
During his speech.
and then has come out and said that he is like, I don't know if he said he's knocking it down or fixing it, but he said he's fixing the Kennedy Center. And the reason he's doing that is so he can rename it to the Trump whatever. And I just don't understand. And once again, we've got him on a hot mic criticizing his own people that they can't get his extremist agenda done.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
But I think the thing that probably capped it off for me was Donald Trump saying that affordability is a hoax, that, you know, the economy is A++, that his administration is bringing prices down. And
which is true.
The reality is that none of that is true. And when Donald Trump is faced with the data and the facts, he gets angry and does the only thing he knows how to do. It's the Democrats.
It's the Democrats. That's it.
If you are a leader, and I think I said this last week about Hegseth too. If you're a leader, every good leader I've ever had, whether a boss, military leader, whatever, or that I have tried to mimic, they always took accountability for what happened under their supervision or command. It may have been my fault. Hell, there's a couple times it was my fault. But I'll tell you what, my master sergeant didn't let that shit roll downhill past him, because he knew that tomorrow I had to go back out on a jet and do the same job. And he understood that there was a confidence that came with doing my job, that you had to know people's lives depended on what I did every day. And he understood that. And we actually talked about it years later, because I told him, I said, that was kind of a turning point for me. I was like, it was the first time I saw that's leadership. It's, you know, he talked to me, we fixed it between him and me. But when it came time to, you know, who needed to get called on the carpet, it wasn't me, it was him.
Yeah.
And so.
And I had the same thing when I would come into a new shop in Iraq or Afghanistan. You know, you get about 2 weeks to say, okay, I've made my evaluation. These are the things that I found wrong with, you know, what the last crew did, or you know, maybe they did a lot of right things. And they're like, hey, there's no need to recreate the wheel. But you get about 2 weeks of that saying, okay, this is what they messed up. Here's how we're going to fix it. And then it's yours. You own it.
You own it.
You own it.
Yeah, you don't get 6 months.
You know, and with politics, it's a lot different when you're actually trying to govern than it is when you're not the party in power, or you're running for a seat and you're just talking trash and downplaying the other party or the last president. It's a lot different to govern.
Yep.
Guys like Trump and any other future person, you should temper some of that vitriol that you throw out there, because it's a whole different thing to govern than it is to run.
Yep. We're 11 months into Trump's presidency, y'all. I hate to tell you, but there isn't a whole lot of Biden that is affecting us, you know, and in reality, a lot of the positives that Biden left behind have been undone by executive orders or other nefarious things. So, you know, between the Kremlin clearly owning Trump and the FIFA Peace Prize and Pete Hegseth possibly getting impeached and Kristi Noem possibly being fired, and, you know, wars continuing that Trump claims to have somehow ended.
A lot going on out there.
ICE still arresting Americans and you know, just showing up into cities without mayor's approval or even governor approval. Affordability is apparently a scam brought on by Democrats, and the Kennedy Center is somehow now just in shambles and has to be fixed by Donald Trump, meaning that it's going to have gold leaf everywhere sometime in the near future with yellow seats. Did I miss anything?
I think you covered it, buddy. But tomorrow's a new day. I'm sure there'll be a whole lot more going on.
Amen to that, unfortunately. So, brother, you got anything before we take off?
I think we're good today, brother.
Yeah, man.
Everybody, try and enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good weekend. I know a lot of Christmas parties are going to start happening here in the very near future. I think we're having one here at our house here in a couple of days. So
yeah, we're gonna have some family in town. So I think we're gonna have one more show next week, and then if I remember, we're gonna take 2 weeks off because the shows happen to fall on. It would have been Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we're gonna let y'all. Like I said earlier in the show, seriously, y'all, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our mental health. And I struggle with it. I know other people struggle with it. It's so much stimulus every day. So don't hesitate to put that phone down, take care of yourself, enjoy your family, your dogs, your cats, your peace and quiet, your books, whatever it is.
Got to know how to decompress.
Yep. Decompress, enjoy yourself. Know that, we love you here on the show. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, and the reason that we do this is because we do need these voices of reason in the middle of the chaos and storm. And so that's what I hope that Marcus and I are able to bring to you. You bring us a lot of satisfaction in just our engagement back and forth. We had a video take off earlier this week, went off for thousands of views, and I've been trying to reply to all of them. So, again, just thanks for supporting the show, making the comments, downloading on Apple. We just really appreciate you. So, as always, much love, keep fighting, but most importantly, stay safe out there.
Godspeed, everybody.